What's going on, guys? Super Savage 799 here, bringing you guys a video to do more of Tenshinhan trained Gohan. In this timeline, Piccolo decides not to take Gohan after the fight with Raditz. The boy is a child with no fighting or survival skills and will merely hinder him in the long run to be tethered to the brat. Besides, it's likely that they won't just let him take the boy, especially since it's Goku's. He does acknowledge Gohan's high potential still, and will tell the trio present about it. He informs them that if they want a chance in the fight with the Saiyans, using that boy's power will be the only way. Someone should consider teaching him fighting skills, otherwise they'll all die regardless. Piccolo would then leave. After Piccolo leaves, Bulma asks Krillin and Roshi if he was being serious, and the duo do confirm that they did sense his outburst. He did present a good point, and even though they know Chi-Chi won't like this, they know it's the right thing to do. They then play Janken to see who has to tell her, and Krillin would lose. He'd head to Mount Power Zoo quite nervous and would confess to her what happened and what needs to happen next. She protests, citing out Gohan isn't a fighter, but Krillin doesn't back down. Realizing that the Earth is in danger, she does decide to concede, but tells Krillin not to let him become a meathead like his father. If how defeated Chi-Chi sounds and looks, Krillin promises this and leaves. Krillin would go back to the others, and Kami calls Krillin to tell him to gather the Z-Fighters and bring them to the lookout. The monk gathers everyone, with Gohan being by his side, and ultimately they all head up to the lookout where training begins. The question here for the Z-Fighters is, who would train Gohan? The most obvious choices are Kami and Popo, but shockingly enough, Tenshinhan steps up to train him. He recognizes the need for balance, to have both brain and brawn. He also recognizes that emotions are hard to keep in check, and that he still occasionally has to keep his from flying out of control. So it is decided that Tenshinhan takes on Gohan as a student while on the lookout. Tenshinhan would start Gohan off basic, teaching him how to do basic martial arts as well as how to meditate and how to use his ki. While Piccolo took a much more risky route in training Gohan, Tenshinhan decides to slowly teach him over time. He began giving Gohan harder lessons and harder training sessions, meaning Gohan has to adapt quick. He would also, however, leave time for Gohan to meditate, as well as him to study and have leisure time, since having balance is important. So when Gohan is doing this, Tenshinhan would train with the others. Gohan would come to see Tenshinhan and Chaozu as his best friends during this time, just like he did Piccolo in canon. He must have heard some stories about Tien from his dad, so to actually meet and train under him is cool. On the flip side, Tenshinhan actually enjoys having a student, and Chaozu comments on this, telling him that he should open up a dojo. Tenshinhan would then think this is a good idea, and tells him that maybe one day he will. After about 6 months, Tenshinhan decides to increase Gohan's training to 11. He'd learned the basics, and now they need to teach him all the crazy stuff. While brute force might seem important, having a technique-orientated fighting style is also quite important, so it's time that he learns some of those. Tenshinhan will teach Gohan how to fly, as well as the Dodonpa, as they are basic key techniques that will come in handy. He also teaches Gohan how to better control his emotions, and so he learns to unleash all his rage at once. While this does give Gohan his rage boost at will, it isn't perfect as you can only do it for a couple moments, as well as it leaving him off guard straight after. This could be quite fatal if he didn't time it right. For the final 2 months of training, Gohan would train with the others on the lookout, demonstrating the fruits of his training, which would amaze everyone. Around this time, Kami would also make sure to remove his tail, as that would be a burden in combat. Let's dive into power levels. No one really trains strength by much, but with Gohan there, another training partner will give slightly stronger boosts. It also means that Tenshinhan gets stronger, so when he trains with the others, they will get stronger also. On the flip side, Piccolo would be slightly weaker, as we see in Dragon Ball numerous times. Having a sparring partner leads to much better games than not having one, even if one is significantly weaker. So, the power levels for everyone are Gohan, 900, Tenshinhan, 2594, Chaozu, 865, Krillin, 2301, Yamcha, 1924, Yajirobe, 1019, and Piccolo, 3200. The day of the Saiyans arrives, and everyone will meet up in the wasteland ready to fight. Piccolo eyes Gohan and notes his strength, stating how he hopes they didn't baby him too much. Tenshinhan would give Piccolo a glare at this, asking if he thinks he could do a better job, making Piccolo scoff. Someone as weak as Tien would make for a good babysitter, but not a teacher. Tenshinhan retaliates by asking Piccolo if he wants to show who's weak. Before they can engage in blows, the Saiyans arrive. They plant the Cybermen like in canon. For the most part, that goes the same. I imagine Yamcha would still die, as although he is stronger, his added strength would also go to his ego, and so he definitely let his guard down and die. As for the Cyberman, that attacked Gohan, it'd be Tenshinhan who killed it instead of Piccolo for obvious reasons. Nappa would then begin battle, rushing at Tenshinhan initially. Due to the added strength he obtained during this year, he'd be able to barely duck under the attack. He is victim to a kick from Nappa that knocks the wind out of him. I think that Chiaotzu won't go and kill himself off the bat due to not seeing the need, as everyone is strong enough. Tenshinhan, Krillin, and Piccolo would all be using the strength they obtained over the year, and they'll be doing slightly better. Chiaotzu would be encouraging Gohan to attack from the sidelines, so the duo take pot shots at Nappa, getting on his nerves. He won't be able to act though, as Tenshinhan would make sure to keep his attention and keep his friends safe. Of course, they take a 3-hour break, with everyone preparing a strategy. Here it depends on Tenshinhan being the feint, distracting Nappa to let Krillin and Piccolo attack and hope for the best. Tien would bring up how Gohan is stronger than even he, when he goes full power, so Piccolo tells him not to tense up. Tenshinhan rushes in and uses Taioken, blinding Nappa, leaving him open. Piccolo, Krillin, and rage-boosted Gohan fire beams at Nappa, with Gohan using his Dot on par. They all impact Nappa, and while they don't kill him, it does leave him much worse aware, as well as enraged. He starts off by trying to thin the herd, firing a Bomber DX at Gohan. Chiaotzu would try and use a telekinesis on Gohan to move him, but won't react quick enough. Instead, Tenshinhan has to make the sacrifice and leaps in the way, taking the attack for his student. Tenshinhan collapses to the ground as Gohan, Chiaotzu, and even Krillin all rush over to tend to his wounds. He apologizes that he's not going to make it this time and chuckles a little that he'll get to do the same training Goku did. He then dies, asking them all to survive. Nappa would see his opportunity right here. 3 of them are all close together with their guards down, and makes his job so much easier. He'd begin charging up a murder grenade as he shouts that they'll be seeing him real soon. Piccolo would be the only one to notice the attack, and even though he's much less attached to the Z fighters, he knows losing them all would lead to a much worse situation for him. So he rushes in front of the attack, taking the full explosion, killing him off, just as Goku arrives. Like in canon, Goku would body Nappa, leading to Vegeta killing him. Goku and Vegeta would then fight like normal, and Krillin, Gohan, and Chiaotzu would return to help against Ozaru Vegeta. Since Krillin never showed off his key end zone, Vegeta wouldn't be expecting it, so it'd slice off his tail, leading to him falling into base. Here, Gohan won't become an Ozaru due to Kami removing his tail much later than it was removed in canon. So that means Gohan, Chiaotzu, and Krillin would all have to try their luck against the injured prince. After Yajirobe lands the slash on Vegeta, Chiaotzu uses his telekinesis on him to begin holding him in place. While Vegeta easily breaks it, the split second he is frozen allows Yajirobe ample time to slash Vegeta and run away. After a couple attempts of this, Gohan would manage to barely stand up and channel his rage into a Dot on par, hitting Vegeta in the chest, leading to him collapsing. The wound was enough to cause critical damage, and so he must retreat. Krillin tries to kill him, but Goku stops him, and so Vegeta flees. Everyone would begin trying to recover, and the plan to go to Namek is set. Here though, Chiaotzu is still alive and would also want to go to Namek. Despite how dangerous it is, he wants to make sure Tenshinhan can come back. Gohan would feel the same, and so after the Namekian ship is prepared, Krillin, Gohan, Chiaotzu, and Bulma all set off to Namek, which is where we're going to leave part 1. If you enjoyed it, why not hit the like button, support the channel, and let us know you want to see a part 2 right away. If you enjoyed this series, why not let me know down in the comments on what do you think will happen at Namek. And yeah, bye!